Thank you for joining us. And Brad, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Just a few questions. One, energy industry is facing unprecedented challenges today, such as the need to build out transmission lines, integrating new renewable energy resources, building new clean coal and nuclear facilities, trillions of dollars being spent, but at the same time, new technologies are rapidly emerging and getting established. As you see it, what are the major challenges, threats, and opportunities facing the power industry from these game-changing developments?
Sure. I would say, one of the bigger ones is that adoption of the renewable energy, the intermittent renewable in particular with wind and solar, is utilities have to be able to integrate that as a clean future energy supply, but then also have to deal with the intermittency, and which is going to create a much bigger role for demand response, for example, electricity storage, those kind of things. So I think utilities are really getting their arms around being able to model and manage these more complex models of delivering and integrating renewable energy into their grid. And along with that is some more complex customer-facing issues, such as electric vehicle adoption. I think that's another game changer, where this can be very disruptive to the utility if it's not managed, because a typical electric vehicle charger could essentially double the demand on a consumer's residence, their home, when they go and plug in their electric vehicle at the end of the day. However, if utilities manage this effectively, it's a great way to build that off-peak load and have a more efficient delivery, and your power plants become more efficient, those kind of things too, to be able to use that off-peak energy for electric vehicle charging. On the same lines, a great mix with the renewables, because wind energy blows at night when loads are down, and so having electric vehicles there to absorb that wind energy is a great combination. The other complexity that utilities have to get their arms around is delivering and communicating value to their customers for these investments, these smart grid investments that utilities are making, and being able to quickly identify for the customer the value of this. And I think there's a lot of tools now available around business intelligence and analytics, and some customer portal technologies and those kind of things that I think as utilities are deploying these technologies, they always need to be in front of the customer to make sure they understand the value of these technologies as they go forward.
Mm-hmm. What can Congress, the Obama administration, and regulators do to help the industry tackle these enormous challenges that we face?
So I think, the biggest ones is having a comprehensive energy policy, first of all, and such that it creates the right markets and the right behaviors of utilities for investing in the right things, in transmission, in renewable generation, demand response, those kind of things that create the right pricing structure as well for the consumers to participate in these new energy markets as well, with their appliances, vehicles, rooftop photovoltaic, those kind of things. So I think that's going to be the biggest one, is having a comprehensive policy that each state regulator adopts to create the right environments for where the investments need to be from the utility side, and as well as create opportunities for the consumers to participate in those new markets.
And how has the economic downturn affected the power industry as far as its ability to keep the lights on in an affordable way that is socially acceptable?
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's bought some time for the utilities to kind of address these issues. I think if we were at a 5% growth rate like we were a number of years ago in certain parts of the nation, it would have been impossible to keep up, and we would have really seen some reliability issues. We're starting to see some of that even in parts of Texas where rolling blackouts and those kind of things, because there hasn't been the investment in some of these other areas in order to keep up with the growth. So with the downturn, the growth rates have dropped, which actually allows the utilities to buy some time to establish these, implement these technologies and establish where they're going with their energy policy and those kind of things. So I think it's been helpful as a nation that we haven't been growing, having to put in new capacity, new generation and new transmission, while we've been dealing with some of these other issues. So I think that as the economy picks up, I think we are more prepared now to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. And of course, over the last few years, we've seen the federal government spend billions of dollars on smart grid efforts and energy efficiency efforts, R&D. Have those investments, and they've been doing that in the name of economic stimulus,
Sure.
Have those investments been making a difference in your opinion?
For the most part, yeah, I think absolutely. But I think it kind of lays a foundation, a technology foundation for the utilities to build off of for the more incremental value. So that's been the challenge of some of these utilities that are starting to get some consumer pushback and regulatory pushback on these investments. Is in many cases it was kind of a foundation, particularly the smart metering is a building block to enable real-time pricing or enable more advanced demand response and consumer participation in things. So you can't do that without that foundation, but these regulators and consumers don't really make that connection. They see, wait a minute, my price continues to go up. You've put in this technology. I don't see the value. So the challenge is how do you get in front of the media and the consumers, and so they're supportive of being able to make energy choices by having the technology. And so that will come, but it's been a little bit of a delay as we build out that foundation.
Well, great. Well, Bradley, thank you so much for joining us today.
Excellent.
Really appreciate your time.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.